Hello, this is Bernardo, and today I'm going to show you how you can inspire emotional attraction in a man, which is where true commitment comes from, so he can finally let down his guard, allow you into his heart, and fall in love with you. Hello, this is Bern. Welcome to another edition of BernMendez.com. If this is your first time here and you'd like to learn how you can attract your ideal life partner without the need for gimmicks, manipulation, games, or silly techniques, make sure to hit the subscribe button right now so you can be notified of new episodes as they come out. First thing I'd like to share today is that men are highly emotional beings, contrary to the myth, contrary to what you may have even thought of or experienced in connection with guys. We feel a lot. Sometimes we don't know what to do with those feelings. Sometimes we're scared of our feelings. Sometimes we're ashamed of our feelings. So what happens when you connect with a man and you don't understand this fundamentally is you may act based on a caricature of what guys want. What do guys want in a caricature? They want to just connect with a woman and have sex with her and leave her. They want to be the conquerors of women's hearts. But beyond the caricature, if you go deep into what a guy wants, he wants to be seen. He wants to be validated. He wants to make a difference. He wants to be a hero of someone. Hopefully you're a hero if you're connecting with them. He wants to make a difference. He wants to create meaning. He wants to add value. He wants to make the world better than how it started. Regardless of where he's in the evolutionary stage of his consciousness, we want more than we might let on from an appearance standpoint. So why emotional connection? Why emotional attraction? Because that's what makes a guy go from this is a nice to have to it's a must have. And I'm talking about you in a relationship. This is what makes him go from I'm afraid of committing to I have to commit. I can't afford to lose this woman. She brings so much meaning and so much witness to my life that even though there's sacrifices, and there are in committing to someone, both for men and from women, the lesser of two pains is to commit right now rather than spend an entire life devoid of the connection of someone who can see me, hear me, feel me, understand me, listen to me, and help me be the best version of myself. So what I want to do today is I want to take you through a few steps that you can really stand by and step into consistently if you want to create emotional attraction so you can take things forward if they're meant to go forward with you. But if they're not going forward, despite what you're doing, despite the physical attraction and the emotional attraction, that you know it's not up to you, you know you gave it your best, and then you can move forward without regrets, without any fears. So principle number one, the higher your vibration, the higher your emotional state, the more able you are to impact and influence him and connect with him and attract him emotionally. Why is this? Well, because human beings, as I said, are emotional beings, but transference of emotion is the thing that's going to allow him to wake up. Is the thing that's going to allow him to look at you versus somebody else. It's that unquantifiable feeling that makes someone go the extra mile between just looking at you and maybe looking at you and saying hi, or between just saying hi and asking for your number, or between asking for your number, not calling you and actually calling you. That intrinsic feeling that someone has is something that you can't fake. And it's something that you can't just do based on looks. Temporarily, women who are just naturally beautiful by book definition or magazine definition of beauty might be able to pull that off, but sustainably, they won't be able to pull it off. So what I'm saying to you right now is regardless of how you feel about yourself, your age, your weight, your physical appearance, I think you can spend more time focusing on your energy, focusing on your attitude, focusing on your vibe, and that will take you far longer than really just spending lots of time trying to change something that is really hard to change. I'm not saying don't be healthy, I'm saying be healthy and focus your energy in the things that allow you to feel more emotions and to express them through your pores, through your eyes, through your being, through your walk, so that when you connect with men, it's simple and easy for you to express who you are at a high vibration in such a way that you punch him in the heart and he has no idea what hit him, but he knows he needs to connect with you. So to recap, number one is you need to be able to elevate your vibe by doing whatever you need to do. That means rituals, that means movement, that means connection with things you love, so that it's easy and simple for you. Instead of having to turn the keys on and crank the shaft and the guy is gone by then, that when you connect with him, when you meet the world, when guys connect with you, you already are in a place of high vibes. You already are in a place of expressiveness. Number two is developing boundaries. And what do I mean by that? That means that specifically I'm talking about physical boundaries and boundaries regarding your time and energy. So you're talking about creating emotional attraction. What happens when you're inflating a balloon and in the process of inflating that balloon, you pop the balloon? Well, I mean, first of all, it wasn't really fully blown up, but then you can't continue blowing it up. You can't continue growing that balloon. Why? Because it has a hole and the air is leaking. So what happens when you're in the process of getting to know someone, which is you're starting to develop emotional connection and attraction, and you interject with a physical in that moment? Now, many things can happen, but the most likely scenario for you, if you're a woman, you're connecting with a guy, and as you're starting to connect with them, you go deeply into the physical, is his need, his hunger, his willingness to go the distance, to get to know you emotionally, will significantly deflate like that balloon. So why do I say this? Well, because imagine that if you can get something that is viscerally fulfilling without having to go the distance, most likely you'll choose it, right? I mean, who wants the 5-hour apps? If you can get 3-minute apps, you'll get 3-minute apps. So don't give them the 3-minute app version, because when you get a chance to connect with them without the physical connection, I'm not saying never hold hands and never kiss the guy. I'm saying take your time. Definitely don't recommend having sex with him early on. Why? Because if you have sex early on, you're going to deflate his willingness to invest in getting to know you. And guess what happens when he doesn't invest in getting to know you? What easy comes, easy goes. What he gets easily, he doesn't value. So if he takes longer to get to know you, and it's not a game, it's not a gimmick, it's you deserve for a guy to get to connect with you and know you and meet you so that you can determine, is this a guy that I want to open physically to? Is this a guy that I want to connect sexually with? Why? Because you connect with a guy that's not good for you sexually, you might get attached too quickly, and then your life sucks. Then he drags you for a ride, and then you're hot and cold with them, and then you don't want to, but you get back with them. It's like it can be a literal shit show for you for the next 6 months to a year, or you can take longer. And in the process of longer, I guess two things happen. First, you can determine, is he the type of guy I want to connect with? And if it's not, then you don't have to go there. You don't have to risk that vulnerability in connecting with him physically and getting attached to him. But if you do connect with them, if you vibe with them, guess what happens? He is investing in you emotionally. So by the time he connects with you physically and sexually, he is far more likely to be hooked and connected and not want to lose you. Why? Because he spent energy, he invested energy and time to get to know you, so he values that. Similar to when someone doesn't buy a car and rich parents gift him a car and then he crashes it, right? Versus when he has to work several shifts in a fast food restaurant to earn it. You see the kid washing the car and taking such good care of it. Why? Because it was so costly emotionally to get to own that car. Number 3 is clarity. And why is clarity important? Because it goes hand in hand with boundaries. Why would you invest time in getting to connect with a guy and emotionally get him attracted when he wants to go to, I don't know, New York and you want to go to San Diego? I mean, it's not a fit, right? So clarity means that when you early stages start connecting with a guy, you're going to ask a few questions to determine if you even want to invest the time, regardless of how cool the guy is, how tall and strong, how virile you think he is. I mean, regardless of how awesome you think the guy is, if he's not going to the destination you're going to, he is a waste of your time and he's pushing away that relationship that you want, whether you want to or not. So ask those questions, figure out what he's looking for in a relationship, figure out what he's looking for in terms of long-term partnership with someone, where he's at in his life right now relative to wanting that. And if the answers don't match, or if they match in a different way than what you want, then do yourself the kind and self-loving act of not investing your time with them. Number 4 is, as you start connecting, let's say he passes the test and he's interested in the same things you're interested in, and you're holding the line in terms of boundaries where he understands that you physically like him and he physically likes you, but you're taking your time to get there. The next thing you want to do is have a range of emotions. Why? Because women typically fall into one or two categories. They're very serious about things and they connect with guys and all they ask is serious questions, and it's almost like an interview process, and it becomes boring for the guy and just anxiety driven for the woman, right? Or they're so relaxed and playful and maybe even afraid of asking the right questions that they connect with a guy and they play it really cool, really low key, like they don't want anything more than just what happens in the moment. What you want to have is a range where you can be playful and bantering and flirty, but also serious and meaningful and connected and heart open. It is not common that guys will experience that range. When they experience that range, they're going to focus on you in a way that probably they haven't. Why? Because that range is so attractive. That range is so meaningful. It's the combination of excitement and certainty, right? Because what do you want in a guy? You want a guy who creates a certainty that he's going to be there for you, but you also want the adventure, right? The combination of adventure and certainty, something that it's an oxymoron, right? Because they're polar opposites, but we want that in a relationship, and that's what range creates for the guy, and that's what opens up his heart and his mind in some ways to be emotionally invested in you. 5 is you want to develop the skill of asking powerful questions and having meaningful conversations. Most people ask boring questions or silly questions or meaningless questions. And you want to ask some of those because that's part of being playful. But you want to learn the art of asking powerful questions. You want to figure out what the model of somebody's world is. You want to figure out what makes them tick, what they love, what they hate, what they admire, what they aspire to, their dreams, their hopes, everything. And if you take the time, and that's why this process is slightly elongated versus connecting with somebody and just deciding that based on looks they're the right fit for you and then trying to figure out along the way, you're getting the time to build something that's called friendship. Right? You're not just building unintentional friendship where you're in the friend zone. No, you're talking about intentional friendship where you have sexual chemistry and attraction. Doesn't mean that you have to have sex. You have that pool, that polarity, but you also have that friendship that's being developed without which a relationship is not possible. So when you develop the art of asking powerful questions and you really listen to the answers, out of maybe 1 or 2 questions, you can have so many, conversations that last an hour or 2 or 3 hours, and then you really start to get to know the person, which leads me to my next point, which is vulnerability, shared vulnerability. Why? Because it's impossible to fall for someone where you don't feel their truth, where you only see the good side about them and you only see the powerful side about them. You want to be able to start witnessing more and more because vulnerability elicits reciprocation. So that principle means that as you start sharing things with him about your life, as he starts becoming safer to you, as he starts showing you through actions, through his respecting of your boundaries, through his investment, through his pursuit that he's a worthy human being, his presence is showing you that, then you open up more and you share with vulnerability parts about you that he needs to start understanding. And then you wait and hear the same from him. When he starts investing in you by being clear, by sharing with you his inner world, that's part of what the vulnerability piece is immeasurable in terms of how powerful this can be in emotional attraction, how powerful this can be in him falling in love with you. Without vulnerability, he cannot fall in love with you. So here's the trick. If you open up too quickly, you're probably going to get hurt. If you never open up because you're afraid of the guy maybe messing with you or hurting you emotionally, then he'll never fall in love with you. So you have to learn the art of opening at the right pace and at the right time, so that you can gradually start feeling more for him and he start feeling more for you. The last one I'll share with you is having a respectful stance of connecting with a guy while creating more options from the start. Here's why. Because sometimes guys feel like you're too certain. Like they're not really investing at the level of urgency that they need to. I'm not talking about being desperate and saying, be my girlfriend from date number 1. But I'm saying sometimes you start to connect with a guy, things start going on, and there's a plateau. And the guy feels like you're too safe. If you develop more connections, and he knows that you're not in the bag, he knows that you're still dating other men, his level of fire in the ass to do something about it, his level of I can't afford to lose this woman is likely going to accelerate versus if he feels like he can take his sweet time and a year from now ask you out and there's no other options for you. You don't do this to play a game. You don't do this to trigger his jealousy. You do it because you're a valuable woman, and until someone has connected with you enough times and through time so you recognize you're the best fit for him, he's the best fit for you, then you can still date more people. So make sure that you keep your options open. Make sure that in the process of advancing this connection, you never feel like you have to push him. It's always a game of inspiration. If you force someone, it's like the guy who wants to sell you a car. That's desperate and it feels horrible. But the person who shows you the car of your dreams, and then if you want to take it, take it. If you don't want to take it, that's cool too. you feel more driven to make that decision. If this is helpful and useful and you want to learn how you can attract the type of guy that I'm describing about right now, maybe you haven't seen him but you want to attract him, then first link in the description of this video will allow you to do just that. If you enjoy this video, click like and thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. The more you subscribe, the more people will actually start seeing these videos, which are meaningful for so many different reasons. Last but not least, you want my help, hand-holding, accountability, and strategy, because you've done the work, seen the videos, but still not getting what you want, then make sure to hit the second link in the description of this video. That will allow you to apply to connect with me and see if we're a good fit to work together. Thank you so much. It's always a challenge you to live a full and a conscious life.